Welcome to Keyworth Stadium, Hamtramck, Michigan. The second clash between Detroit City FC's U23 team and Livonia City FC on this young season. DCFC controlled from start to finish. The last time these two teams met up on May 29th, it was a 5-0 convincing win for first-year head coach Javi Bautista's crew. Both teams taking the field after the starting 11s were announced. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. I'm Jason Ross Jr. Pleasure to be alongside you, filling in tonight. Toasty 85-degree evening. There are your starting 11 on the Detroit City FC side. We have Krovacci, Yaha, Mutana, Steinwasser, Harshi, Dobson, Letburn, Soga, Mason, Imovan, and in goal for Detroit City FC today will be Morse. We'll delve into that as the broadcast moves along here. Hunter Morse, the native of Belleville, sparkling career at Michigan State. Goalkeeping hasn't been tested much so far for DCFC's U23 team. They controlled possession from start to finish throughout the course of that first meeting with Livonia City FC, as we mentioned. And off we go. 7:32 p.m. kickoff this evening. Livonia City FC making their way into the attacking third. They're starting 11. Thomas Dono, Amar Labiki, Gavin Cameron, Drew Terhune, Tef Sizawaki, Andrew Bergeson, Zach Bovali, Thomas Mackey, Connor Rayome will round it out, and in goal, Michael Forbes makes his first start for Livonia City FC. Most will tell you that there is quite a bit of distance between this DCFC U23 team and the rest of the pack at the moment. This is a Midwest Premier League matchup. It's a back four tonight for DCFC, 4-3-3 formation. And Javi Bautista off to a wonderful start in his head coaching tenure with DCFC. He said when he was hired that he was excited to continue to focus on the growth of young talent as well as providing a true developmental system. And so far they've done that in very clean fashion. Still a very young season. I mentioned, though, 5 goals for DCFC last time they squared off against LCFC. 4 different goal scorers in that one. Brady Walker scored twice. Benedict Tanyi, Shian Saga scored on a penalty kick, and Sanad Yaya joined the party as well. Again, a back four for DCFC. Then you have the 3 central midfielders, the 2 wings up front, and 1 center forward, or striker if you like. Officials today: Donovan Nocha, Jacob Little, Christian Little, and Leighton Kelly. Mentioned Javi Bautista, the head coach on the U23 side for DCFC. For Livonia City FC, it's Gavin King, who also has worked at Madonna in the past, which has been a a key, I guess, site for where Livonia City FC has pulled a lot of their players from. Assistant coaches Matt Brown and Justin Hunter as well. As a look at Connor Rayom making his first start in the Livonia City FC uniform. And briefly inside of the 18-yard box, and now DCFC will try to counter. There's Wasim Muthana, who tried to make his way forward. Mentioned Madonna University. He was a WAC champion at Madonna University, the Wolverine Hoosier Athletic Conference. Good defensive play in the midfield thus far from Livonia City FC. One of the keys for them today certainly will be having desire to get on the ball and do so aggressively in the midfield, not giving DCFC too much time once those touches are made. So quick 1-2 touch soccer, aggressive play in the midfield. All keys certainly for this Livonia City FC team trying to bounce back from, again, what was a 5-0 loss first time these two squads met up. There's Omar Labiki in the starting lineup today on the LCFC side. Again, goalkeeping hasn't been tested too much for DCFC so far. Hunter Morse, the Belleville, Michigan native, just finished up in Michigan State in that luminescence yellow look today. George City FC opting to patiently build it up from the back here. Sosa Movan wearing number 3 today on the bottom of your screen there in the back 4. Center backs and fullbacks that performed well so far for DCFC, which has gone with that 4-3-3 formation for the entirety of the season so far. There's Sosi Movan. Started his career out at the University of Michigan and transferred to UConn for a better fit after his sophomore year. First breach of the attacking third for DCFC. Alejandro Steinwasser. And first look at what was a pretty neat chance there for the men in the burgundy uniforms. Just rises over top. The goal that time of Michael Forbes. Here's Steinwasser, University of Indy products. Mom Teresa played D1 soccer at Dayton. Dad played soccer at Macomb. Soccer's kind of always been in the bloodline for his family. Both parents still coach. It's been a pretty energetic start so far, though, for Livonia City FC. They try to thread it down the near side. Intentions that time for Omar Labiki. Sliding in to stymie the effort. Unable to turn with it. There was Omar Labiki, and now on the counter attack comes DCFC. Zion Beaton getting the start today. The Belleville, Michigan native has already scored once so far this season. Played his college soccer at Wright State. Battles in the midfield have been fun to watch so far. It's a quick forward pass. Nice combination brewing. It was wonderfully constructed. They try to slip it through for the second time into the attacking third. Back four stood tall on that occasion for LCFC. Whistle is blown after a Movan went down. Here comes the free kick to the near side of the edge of that 6-yard box. Punched out, though. And threaded down the far-hand side. Roaming for it is Atef Sikawazi. Attempting to dance past the back four of DCFC. That'll soar high. Nearly 10 minutes into this opening half. And DCFC off to the 4-0 start in Javi Bautista's first season. 3 consecutive shutout wins. 3-0 win over West Michigan on Tuesday. Marked the second consecutive win over West Michigan. Second of 3 games being played this week. The next one is on Saturday against Inter Detroit. Something potentially brewing. Zion beaten once again, trying to make it through on his own. Just clinical finishing, though, in that 5-0 win the first time around for DCFC. Eventually, it feels as though they'll unleash that. Potentially a chance brewing here, and it slips just wide. Alejandro Steinwasser has had the best looks of the night so far. Second time he's nearly found the back of the net. Nonetheless, still tied up at 0-0. Steinwasser so calm and poised when he gets chances. They'll look at him once again there. Won't be the last time we call his name today. Played in the 18-yard box where the starting goalkeeper, Hunter Morse, comes out to snare it. Now he'll have another chance to reset things. We've seen DCFC kind of patiently build up from the back so far. The high press is on from the white shirts LCFC. We'll see from a stamina perspective how long they can keep up that aggressive high press strategy. Lofted vertically over the top. Thomas Dono making the start, coughed it up. Here's a familiar name in Steinwasser once again. Tried to slip it down the right-hand side. Sosa Amovan made a run. Steinwasser leaves it back for a Movan. Sosa Movan, quick 1-2 touch soccer as they try to work their way down the near side. This is Movan, who makes a run after delivering the quick pass. Then it turns into a potential counter-attacking opportunity for LCFC, and a whistle is blown by a byproduct of that. So possession will stay with Livonia City FC. Mentioned 4 different goal scorers. Brady Walker scored twice in that first game. Benedict Tani, Shian Saga scored on a penalty kick, and Sanad Yaya. Those are the 4 different goal scorers in the first matchup between these sides. Sosi Movan has been all over the place so far today. This is threaded nicely down the left-hand side, but it was offside as the flag went up. Steinwasser has already had 2 fairly clean looks so far today. Has wonderful chemistry with Yaya, the Yemen U23 national team player, who we mentioned scored in that first matchup between these sides. James Lee in the midfield for DCFC. Movan opts to back off here. Roaming right at him is Amar Labiki. Steinwasser flicks it ahead, then gets a return feed. Picking his way through the midfield is Zion Beaton, with his family in the stands this evening. There's another look at Beaton. Played his college soccer at Wright State. Beautiful delivery. The chemistry between the forwards in this 4-3-3 formation is a wonder to watch. That one sailed over top the wall. Stripped again. We'll thread it down the left-hand side. Yaya. Able to win the ball back. They're so aggressive, and he's calling for a potential handball here. We'll see, it will be. So, yep, there's the replay. And sets up a penalty shot attempt here for Sanad Yaya, who we noted scored in the first matchup between these sides. One of 4 different goal scorers. Has an early golden opportunity, but stymied by a sprawling effort. Beautiful save on the part of Michael Forbes, who will need to be brilliant tonight if LCFC is to stay into this one and pull off the upset. So Forbes pumping some early energy into his group. First set piece opportunity. And a fun start. Appears to be a different mentality on the LCFC side today. Header comes in, another chance. Forbes makes yet another brilliant save. And it's worked out. So LCFC under pressure on their heels, backed up in their own third of the field, but able to come away unscathed after a few heart-pounding moments. Yaya slips, able to regroup with his footing. Trying to work his way out of traffic, was engulfed by white shirts. Ball pounces back out to the midfield. Beaten, edge of the 18-yard box, picking his way through traffic. On the half turn, Amovan roaming down the right-hand side, was potentially hoping to cut it back into the box, but rolled off his right foot, and LCFC will retain possession. Look at the replay of that hectic sequence. Nearly 20 minutes into this opening half, it has been a scintillating first half of action so far. No score here from Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck, Michigan, on a Thursday night. I should say toasty evening that'll turn tonight eventually. Couldn't ask for a more beautiful night, though, at 85 degrees, cooling down a bit. The high press is on once again for LCFC. DCFC trying to methodically work their way through, nearly had the connection going, but broken up, and now the white shirts will try to take advantage. Matt Versteeg over to Gavin Cameron. This should brew a counter-attacking opportunity for Detroit City FC. Pretty clean to the midfield. Nice sliding defensive play made by Thomas Mackey. Yaya has already had a couple of brilliant chances so far. The flag goes up, so that chance will promptly end for Zion Beaton. Labiki in a one-on-one battle there with Imovan, and a roll back into the grasp of Morse. The center backs, as I mentioned, have been very steady so far for DCFC. 3 consecutive shutout wins. As a center back, you're doing most of the work defensively. And you have the fullbacks on either side that have license to roam up their respective sides of the field and join the attack offensively. Movan, that first touch of his is a wonder to watch. His right foot. It's almost like, it almost feels like it's a cushion. It just kind of settles the blow of the ball, and he's just so calm and poised. Seemingly, no matter how many defenders are around him. And when DCFC is in positions where they have to defend, they do a wonderful job of staying in their shape and moving as a unit. Another look at Imovan there. Product of London, Ontario. Congestion at the edge of the 18-yard box. Matt Versteeg trying to slip through. Couldn't quite do so. Beaton will play it forward. And Michael Forbes in the orange uniform with the black shorts tonight in goal for LCFC has been the reason why we're still scoreless so far. Faced the penalty shot in the early goings and then had to make a couple of saves in the following moments as well. And he's sure to be tested again prior to the end of this half. Flicked ahead. Beaton couldn't quite settle it down. Here's the battle in the midfield that we talked about will be so important, especially on the LCFC side of things. That's Atef Sakazi. We'll play it back for Gavin Cameron. Threaded down the left-hand side. Zach Bovali watched by Sosa Movan. Atef Sakazi, and he has it punched off his foot there, up and out of play. Just played in the header and coming out after being untested throughout the first really 25 minutes of this one. Morse on the first set piece for LCFC has to remain poised there, and we're still scoreless. Movan. Back to Sam Harsh. Here is Harsh. Out of the reach of Imovan, and not the transition through the midfield that DCFC wanted. Omar Labiki on to Gavin Cameron, and back to Michael Forbes, who has sparkled so far in that orange uniform for LCFC. One of the leaders on the team, however, gave it away on that occasion. Yaya will try to take advantage. He's had brilliant opportunities so far. Here's another, and Forbes comes up big once again. DCFC has had their chances so far in this one. That was Wasim Muthana. Now Zion Beaton, steady in the 18-yard box. Took a ricochet in favor of LCFC, and they can settle things down in a bit more of a calmer fashion. Sosai Movan would beg to differ. Coughed it up there. Counterattack brewing. Omar Labiki roaming up that left-hand side. Tomas Dano had it roll off his foot. And now the back four in the 4-3-3 formation of DCFC. And they've had a look at that high press today so far from Livonia City FC. Nearly half an hour in. No score here in Hamtramck. Morse will roll out. Really has just been tested once on that set piece a few minutes ago. The corner kick for LCFC. They may need perhaps a lucky or at least fortuitous bounce in their favor on perhaps a set piece today. And winning the battle in the midfield will be important as well. DCFC picked their way through pretty easily on that occasion. I'm trying to find some clean touches. Beaton wasn't happy with that connection. That time Beaton was entangled with one of the LCFC players there. They were both jousting for it after the ball was thrown in. Possession, it appears as though it's going to go to LCFC. As Beaton was a bit over-aggressive. Again, we mentioned Detroit City FC's U23 team, 3 consecutive shutout wins, 4-0 on the season so far under their first-year head coach, Javi Bautista, and defeated this LCFC team 5-0 back on May 29th. Fresh off a 3-0 win on Tuesday over West Michigan. Marked the second consecutive win over West Michigan. This is the second of 3 games this week for DCFC's U23 squad. Brady Walker, Benedictani, Shian Saga, and Sanadi Yaha were the 4 different goal scorers on those 5 goals that were scored back on May 29th against LCFC. Walker scored twice. No score yet thus far here at Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck, Michigan. Ryan Dobson, native of Liverpool, England. Played for Northwood University in the state of Michigan. Wasim Muthana had a chance about 6-7 minutes ago that was denied by Michael Forbes, who again doesn't look like he's making his first start in goal today for Livonia City FC. He has been very good for them thus far, and the reason why we're scoreless. Alejandro Steinwasser, he's had a couple of good chances as well. Lachlan Hepburn tried to get something brewing on the far side of the field. You see Lachlan there, bit of a frustrated look. A defensive midfielder from Fenton, Michigan. Went to Lake Fenton High School and played for Saginaw Valley State. Pretty versatile athlete. Hepburn not only played soccer, but also hockey, and he boxed as well. So you talk about conditioning. Hockey, boxing, and soccer. He's one of the fittest on the fields. Number 6 in Burgundy. Sakazwe couldn't quite handle things. Cleared out to the midfield. Beaton made a break at it. Promptly coming in to take it, though, was Zach Bavali. Movan able to clear. Beaton will make a run after it. It's Steinwasser down the near side of the field. Had Beaton roaming towards the middle area of the top of the edge of the 18-yard box, but roams past him and onto the right foot of Michael Forbes, who clears. Beaton once more. As Muthana running down the right-hand side, opts to give it off to Sosa Imovan. Number 3 in Burgundy, always nifty when he's got the ball on his right foot. Beaton on the half turn. Couldn't quite look over his shoulder to make the feed, which is what you want to see defensively if you're Livonia City FC. Do not give the opponent enough time to look over their shoulder to make the next feed. Same thing there, but perhaps a little over-aggressive. When you have a player receiving on the half turn, you want to eliminate the possibility of them making a forward pass, and that's what Livonia City FC is trying to do. And if it costs you a whistle every now and then, it might be worth it to keep this game as tight as possible. Much different look so far than the 5-0 win for DCFC over Livonia City FC back on May 29th. Harsh will take the free kick duties. Lofted towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Punched out, though. Sakazwe, who's been all over the place for LCFC today. Attempted to clear. There's a look at him. Standing next to Yahweh. Beautiful soccer through the midfield that time. On the left-hand side goes Yaya, one of the 4 goal scorers against Livonia City FC. And that May 29th 5-0 win for Detroit City FC. And climbing the ladder there to vacuum that in was Michael Forbes. Sakazwe couldn't quite catch up that time. You wonder where his energy is at the moment. In the dwindling moments of this first half, he has been omnipresent force so far today. DCFC implementing a high press of their own. Trying to force a mistake. Nearly did. Imovan dancing and shifting. Harsh is another player who's so strong on the ball. And you saw it there. Beaton with Mathana ahead. Yaya on the left-hand side. Opts to go to Mathana. Yaya to Mathana. Rolled over the ball and it was cleared to the midfield, but DCFC has really owned possession over the last several minutes here now. Just haven't quite squeezed it past Michael Forbes, who's making his first start in goal. To the right of your picture at the moment for LCFC. And he has made some brilliant stops so far, including one on a penalty shot very early in this one. Labiki flicked it ahead in search of Versteeg, but into the grasp of Hunter Morse. Dobson up ahead to Yaya. Let's see if DCFC can make something out of this. Lachlan Hepburn will distribute the ball in onto the foot of Yaya. Couldn't quite pick his way through. Omar Labiki has been a good force in the back four so far for Livonia City FC. Little room here in time and space for Zach Bovali to work with. Stalked by Sosa Amovan. Cuts it back to the edge of the 18-yard box, but into the possession of DCFC. Vertically through the middle. Sword past Beaton. Cleared vertically the other way. Takes a high hop onto the right thigh of Hunter Morse. Steinwasser had the two early chances for DCFC. He'd love to have at least one of those back and another go at it. Livonia City FC pleading for the whistle, and they'll get one. As Dono went down. Free kick will come off the foot of Amar Labiki. Down the right-hand side, the header over top and off the crossbar. Hunter Morse tested for the second time today. Inches away, perhaps, from sneaking underneath that crossbar. Stripped and another chance here. Zach Bovale went spiraling down onto the turf. The ability to win those one-on-one battles with the ball in the air. That's such a key talent for Zion Beaton. Intercepted to the midfield. Now LCFC will try to start cooking here. A couple of players down. That's Ryan Dobson, Liverpool, England native. Second of 3 games this week for DCFC. Next up is Saturday versus Inter Detroit. 3 consecutive shutout wins in this 4-0 start for Javi Batista's team. Gavin King, the head coach for the visiting Livonia City FC, who come in as the underdogs tonight, but look pretty confident, came out very energetic. And they can thank Michael Forbes, their goalkeeper, for this game being scoreless. Beaton that time lost the battle. Up ahead goes Thomas Dano. Couldn't quite breach the back 4, though. Now Beaton with the energy that he might have left in this first half. We'll play it back to Sosai Movan. Attempting to direct traffic. The high press still looks pretty aggressive. Just from my eyesight looking down from our broadcast perch here. As Movan has to track back and hope not to make a mistake. As he stalked all the way to the byline by Thomas Dano. Athena tries to get something brewing here. 99 in Burgundy. Over to Steinwasser. Sanadi Yaya couldn't quite get control of it. Steinwasser, Mathina, and Yaya have been dangerous up front. Omar Labiki seeking towards the middle of the field. Threads it down the right-hand side as LCFC looks to get into the attacking third. They get a nice ricochet here, and whistle blows. I believe the play was offside. That'll wrap up the opening half of action. It was fun. It was back and forth. It was scoreless. Again, DCFC beat LCFC 5-0 last time these squads met up back on May 29th. But Livonia City FC has different intentions tonight. Still anyone's game. Again, scoreless after the first 45. Hugs for that man, Michael Forbes, who was excellent. The reason why we're scoreless. We'll see if he can keep it up in the second half of action. Here's a look at the handball that led to the first penalty shot from Yaya. Couldn't quite capitalize. Michael Forbes, that was certainly his biggest save, and then there were some in the ensuing moments that were equally as impressive. Welcome back to Keyworth Stadium. Sun beginning to set on an 85-degree evening here in Hamtramck, Michigan. Second half about to get underway momentarily. A few looks at some of the first half highlights. This was that handball that led to the penalty kick from Yaya, but the save from Michael Forbes was a sparkling one. He had some in the ensuing moments as well that are the reason why this game is scoreless. Here's another one. That time on Wasim Muthana. Forbes hugged his teammates after the first 45, and rightfully so. Deserved some congratulations. He'll need to be equally brilliant in this second half, as Detroit City FC now going from right to left in their burgundy uniforms with the gold trim, scoreless, into the second half of action from Hamtramck. Pleasure to be with you. Kellen Landefeld in the game now, taking down the Livonia, Michigan native, going up against his hometown club. Again, a back four for DCFC, the 4-3-3 formation. Javi Bautista, the head coach in his first year for DCFC's U23 team, was so excited to just showcase the local talent and form a competitive squad. So far, they're off to a pretty competitive start. 4-0 on the season. 3 consecutive shutout wins, have been brilliant defensively. Goaltenders have been rarely tested. And now they'll try to get something cooking here in the attacking third once again. Hepburn's cross came in, deflected out. Sosa Imovan was all over the place in that first 45. James Lee on the back four will back off. Imovan, the outside fullback on the far side, top of your screen there. LCFC tried to get a little combination brewing, couldn't do so initially. Now roaming down the left-hand side with a chance brewing here. Morse comes out and has to make a sprawling effort. Morse was tested a couple of times in that opening half, once on a set piece. The other came on the set piece by way of the free kick. The first one was a corner kick. Connor Rayome, native of Troy, Michigan, really creative passer. Morse has to come out again. And remember, LCFC got off to that really good start in the first half of play. It was, again, an energetic start. We're good in the midfield in terms of possession. They've been going with the high press today, not backing off and just accepting what Detroit City FC would likely bring at them. They've been aggressive defensively. Made a couple of mistakes that have led to near chances for DCFC, but thanks to Michael Forbes, again, we're scoreless. Hepburn, native of Fenton, Michigan, Lake Fenton High School. Played for Saginaw Valley State. Able to thread it over. Jack Zuyang, Michigan State Spartan. Really good two-way midfielder, covers a lot of grounds. LCFC trying to get a counterattack going on the right foot of Thomas Dano. His ball to the middle of the field intercepted, and now a bit of time and space to work with for DCFC as they try to go vertically down that far-hand side. Alejandro Steinwasser had his chances in the first half as well. 2 in particular that were pretty clean looks. He'd love to have either of those back. Sosa Imovan was very active through the first 45 minutes of play. Ryan Dobson, Liverpool, England native, Northwood University. The near side of the field for Hepburn. And back to Dobson once more. So the primary difference we noticed so far in that front three is Sanadi Yaya getting a breather at the moment. Mathina still in. But Sanadi Yaya, who was one of 4 different goal scorers the first time these two teams met up for DCFC, again had the penalty kick chance earlier in the first half that we showed you coming out of break. Yemen U20 national team and Marshall University player, former Edsel Ford soccer player as well. One of the more dynamic forwards on this DCFC team. Currently on the sideline. That ball played across the field for Sosa Imovan. Started his career out at the University of Michigan on the collegiate level before transferring to the University of Connecticut for a better fit after his sophomore season. DCFC getting aligned for this set piece. The corner kick to the near post, punched out off the head that time of Connor Rayome. Michael Forbes must be pretty confident right now, the goalkeeper for LCFC, after that first half of play. Rayome, I beg your pardon, Hunter Morse coming all the way out. DCFC's women's first team will host Midwest United on this field at 7:30 on Saturday. The U23 team again playing their second of 3 games this week on the men's side. And they'll play Inter Detroit on Saturday, beat West Michigan a couple of days ago on Tuesday night. That was a 3-0 win, 3rd consecutive shutout victory. Landefeld over to Hepburn. Gavin Cameron, who made the starting 11 today for LCFC. You see him in the shot there. Thanks to our production team for all of the wonderful looks tonight. Nice little half turn there on the far side. Fullbacks for both teams and their back fours have license to roam. This is played to the midfield. Talked about those battles being so important. LCFC tried their best to not allow the Detroit City FC players to look over their shoulder and make forward passes. Those quick 1-2 touch passes. You hear the term dwell time actually used a lot nowadays. How long is a player staying on the ball after that first touch? You want that dwell time to be as short as possible is what you're naturally taught. Try to move things ahead directly and swiftly, as you see here. Beautiful combination brewing, and that slips past the far bar. Michael Forbes, heart-pounding moment for the goalkeeper in orange, but we're still scoreless, just by inches. Oh, just inches away. We've said that a couple of times so far today. Atef Sakazwe, who was a force in that opening 45. Typically logs a lot of minutes. James Lee hit the deck. Whistle blown because of it. His 5th game of the season. A really good center back, James Lee. Again, you're expected to do most of the work defensively in the back four if you're a center back, so it's not an easy task in a very key position in any formation that you run. Ryan Dobson over to Lee. His fellow center back pushes it forward through the air. Forbes will control. On the half turn there, Kellen Landefeld was taken down. Michigan State sophomore. Now a counterattack brewing. Atef Sakazwe ran into trouble in the form of Ryan Dobson. Alejandro Steinwasser, University of Indy Products, ran out of real estate there. It's a DCFC team and loaded with players who have sharp finishing skills on the U23 side, and that's key in that when you look at the front three in the 4-3-3 formation, the ability to make runs into space, know when the best option to pass is and who that best option is. This group has beautiful chemistry, and we've seen that. Michael Forbes, though, the goalkeeper in orange, has shut the door so far. We are scoreless. Still about 13 minutes into this second half of play. The ball rolls over towards the byline, and look at Sosi Movan trotting back. Hepburn flicked it off his right foot ahead to Landefeld. Landefeld was in search of Imovan. Roaming back to break up that attempt was Connor Rayome. Zion Beaton also not on the field so far in this second half. He was, again, an integral part of that first 45 for DCFC, as he usually is. Here is Alejandro Steinwasser. You can say the same about him. On to Hepburn. Sidesteps past Sakazwe. Edge of the 18-yard box, punched out. Now Livonia City FC will try to settle things down against this high press look from the burgundy shirts. Sakazwe watched tightly there by Hepburn. And Hepburn won the battle. Lachlan Hepburn, that soars high. A really good two-way player, Hepburn. You can see it on display there. Tested his luck from outside of the 18-yard box. Hepburn. Fresh off that brilliant sequence a minute ago. Alejandro Steinwasser, the cutback, squeaks out. See if Livonia City FC can find a way to get a good counterattack brewing here. Versteeg tried to thread it down the left-hand side for Dono. Nothing brewing there as the center back, James Lee, retreats once again. Gavin King, the head coach on the LCFC side of things, his assistants Matt Brown and Justin Hunter, pretty satisfied so far, especially with the performance of their goalkeeper Michael Forbes. And really in general, I guess you could say what they've done defensively for the most part here today. Javi Bautista's crew still in search of their first goal. Could this potentially be the destiny moment? Jack Ewing, Michigan State products, threads it towards the 6-yard box, couldn't quite get it there, but Sosa Imovan will track back out and try to reset things with time and space to have a look. Credit Steinwasser there for winning the 1v1 battle. Hepburn went down, no whistle. Steinwasser threaded it across. Intentions that time for Jack Streberger. Couldn't quite find him, the Grosse Pointe Woods, Michigan native who plays for Butler. Yeah, had been an outside back in the past for his club teams, but really a versatile player, Streberger. You can put him all over the field. James Lee and Ryan Dobson, the two center backs in the back four for DCFC. Here's Hepburn trying to get his creativity brewing. Streberger was in the vicinity, but Forbes, untested, will launch it away. Quick touches on display right now for DCFC. Attempting to combine on that far side. It was Imovan and Landefeld, but the connection wasn't quite there. Thomas Dano, who was in the starting 11 for LCFC today, was outmanned that time, ran into a wall of burgundy shirts, and the back four will have a chance to reset here for DCFC. Pretty easy pickings to the midfield over the past few minutes for DCFC. Roaming their way through pretty cleanly. LCFC opts to sit back here in their formation, hoping to stay nice and tight. So Kazwe was able to win that 1v1 battle as the ball hopped up into the air, but then coughed it right back. Muthana substitutions coming in for DCFC. Here's a look at Chao Mazo. Keith Larson as well. And Cheyenne Soga will all make their way in for DCFC. About 66 minutes in. Who can be the one to break the scoring seal on what's been a fun evening turning into night? Shion Soga, native of Japan, played his college soccer for South Florida, but went to Novi High School. Didn't move to the United States until 2019, so he's only been in the country for a couple of years now after coming over from Japan. Again, played for Division I South Florida. A look at Soga there. He's scored once so far this season. Lovely dancing move there from Mazo. Again, he was one of the reserves that checked in a couple of minutes ago. Mazo is another who played his college soccer in Livonia for Madonna, native of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Produces a set piece in the corner coming into the far post. Header pops up over top the crossbar. And the heart rate of LCFC goalkeeper Michael Forbes can settle down a bit once again. So go on the delivery. Adam Silberg there. Livonia City FC. Silberg will come in for Versteeg on the LCFC side of things. Again, you saw there the ball rolled over the byline, so produces a set piece here for Livonia City FC. Atef Sakazwe will take the duties. They've had a couple of threatening corners so far. This one at the edge of the 18-yard box still being bounced around. And Strieberger can finally settle it down for DCFC. Sakazwe against Imovan, and Sakazwe will hand the ball off there to Bavale. Two players in the starting 11 today for Livonia City FC. Dono had intentions there for Silberg, but Ryan Dobson, one of the center backs for DCFC, had other ideas. And DCFC hasn't allowed a goal since the season opener on May 22nd against Michigan Stars Football Club. That was a 2-1 victory. Since then, 5-0 over this Livonia City FC team back on May 29th. Then it was 3-0 over the West Michigan Bearings. That one slips just past. We talked about Sogo, who checked in a few minutes ago. He came up inches from breaking the scoring seal. Whew. We've said that a few times today. Tuesday night was another 3-0 victory over West Michigan for DCFC out at Byron Center. The speed of Soga on display, picking his way into the attacking third, into the 18-yard box. Soga! And another save made by Forbes. Oh, that was talent on talent right there. This has been fun to watch. Jan Soga right at Michael Forbes. And Forbes keeps it alive. Still scoreless. But a set piece coming in. The corner kick, punched out. James Lee on the ball, now Imovan. And to the talented Soga. He'll peel back, marked heavily by Silberg. Soga, can it squeak through? Oh! Just whistled wide, and inches continue to separate a scoreless game versus 1-0. Soga once again in the mix as the drama builds and the time dwindles here in Hamtramck. If you're watching this one and your heart isn't pounding right now, I don't know what to say, because mine certainly is over these last couple of minutes here. I'm sure I can say the same about the fans below us. Pretty nice turnout today. The chants begin to get a little louder after each and every sequence. Xian Soga will be involved once again here. Soga clips the crossbar. Another look at it. The paw of Michael Forbes may have caught a piece of it. Of course, the Olympic soccer will take place in Soga's home country in just about 6 weeks, Tokyo. Soga, a native of Japan, as we mentioned earlier. So many close chances. So many coming up just shy tonight for DCFC's U23 squad. Soga, nice little half turn. Xian Soga off the foot of Strieberger. Imovan, Soga, Mazo. Nice thread down the left-hand side onto the foot of Lachlan Hepburn. Plays it across to the far post. James Lee will track back on the back four. It's been all DCFC when it comes to possession over the past at least 10 minutes or so now. Hepburn, at this point, if you're a DCFC fan, you're just looking up to the heavens wondering how has one not squeaked past Michael Forbes, the goalkeeper for LCFC. This time the possession will be gifted to Livonia City FC under their head coach Gavin King, who certainly be impressed with his team's performance this evening after the 5-0 drubbing that they faced against the same Detroit City FC team just a couple of weeks ago on May 29th. Hunter Morris, no trouble dealing with that. Potential chance brewing. Sogo involved once again. Slips it down the right-hand side off the crossbar. Ball spills out. Not quite done yet. Keith Larson over to Kellen Landefeld. Edge of the 18-yard box. And LCFC able to clear it out of trouble. Dobson over to Imovan. Nearly 80 minutes in. Still scoreless. Can Soga change that? And he's taken down. No whistle. That was obviously in the penalty box. We've had one penalty kick already today for DCFC that was stopped by Forbes. Again, inches away. There's a look at Xian Soga, who has threatened on, I think, 3 or 4 occasions now to finally break the scoring seal on this one, but it just feels like there's a force field in front of the goal right now. Michael Forbes, maybe DCFC can break through that force field on this occasion. A chance! There it is! Mazo! A shade after 80 minutes into this one. The scoring seal is finally broken. So many chances, so many that came up just inches shy. A brilliant night for Michael Forbes, the goalkeeper for LCFC, but it's Mazo who finally cracks the code. A 1-0 now in favor of DCFC. And now another chance potentially brewing. Keith Larson with Sogo to his right. Look at Mazo. Again, played his college soccer in Livonia for Madonna University. And he's the one to separate the score right now against Livonia City FC. Picking his way through, Larson. Kaio Mazo, there's a look at him once again, standing side by side with Atef Sakazwe. 1-0 the lead for DCFC. And the goal didn't come until a shade over 80 minutes into this one. So LCFC down to their last gasp. Certainly a flip of the script from the May 29th matchup between these sides. The DCFC won 5-0. As Morse has to come out there. The cross was delivered into the box. Certainly will be one of those last stretches of adrenaline now for LCFC as they try to even the discussion. But DCFC has owned possession for the vast majority of this second half. Sosi Movan looks like he'll play the full game today. was Caio Mazo, the native of Sao Paulo, Brazil, with the separation mark in this one, a little over 80 minutes in. It's been such a thrilling second half. So many chances came up just shy. Multiple crossbars are hit. They finally cracked the code of the first start in goal for Michael Forbes on the LCFC side of things. I'll tell you, LCFC has something brewing with Michael Forbes right now in goal, but here they try to have something going offensively. Sakazwe out of his reach. But DCFC player still down at the opposite end. It's Jack Zuge. Have a listen to the roars of Keyworth Stadium. One of the best atmospheres that you can find for a sporting event in the state of Michigan. Again, DCFC's main women's team will be in action here at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. This U23 men's team is playing on Saturday as well. They'll play their second of 3 games this week against Inter Detroit. This is a Midwest Premier League matchup tonight. Look at Mitch Jones, who checks in for the first time on the LCFC side of things. Thomas Dono trying to pick his way through traffic. Dono threads it to the edge of the 18-yard box for Connor Rayome. Rayome, nothing doing there. Rayome, a native of Troy, Michigan. Troy High School, really creative player, though, on that wing. Imovan. Soga. Larson. Landefeld. Another Livonia, Michigan native. Michigan State Spartan. Sophomore in East Lansing. Larson. Back for Lachlan Hepburn, who's been a key part of this second half. Nice ball threaded through. Another chance brewing. Larson denied. Michael Forbes, I'll say, you know, DCFC and their fans are probably, even if a win does come out tonight for the Burgundy Shirts, probably tip their cap. The job that Michael Forbes has done in his first start for Livonia City FC. Certainly admirable, respectable, whatever word you want to use, he's been good. Ball settled down on the right foot of Connor Rayome. Roaming, awkward ball. And an applause comes raining down from this Keyworth Stadium crowd for their goalkeeper Hunter Morris, Belleville, Michigan native. Umovan threads it across to Mazo. The lone goal is scored. Soga, he's had his chances so far today. Native of Japan, roaming his way through. Soga galloping into the 18-yard box. And we get a whistle blown. Appears as though Soga will have the honors here on what will be the second penalty kick that Michael Forbes faces. He stopped the first one off the foot of Sanad Yaya back in the early stages of the first half. Question mark here is, can Shion Soga provide some insurance for DCFC? He can! Soga makes it 2-0. And a bit more of a comfy cushion for DCFC on a Thursday night. Look at the man who plays his college soccer at South Florida. Went to Novi High School, moved from Japan to the United States in 2019. And that may be the icing on the cake. The announcement of Soga's goal comes over the speaker. And that'll do it. DCFC claims a 2-0 victory over the visiting Livonia City FC. What was a thrilling matchup from really the start of the night. The second half in particular was absolutely brilliant. DCFC return improves to 5-0 on the season. Make it now 4 consecutive shutout wins for Javi Bautista's crew. Again, this is a team that looks impressive in the early stages. Make it a 2-0 victory over Livonia City FC. And now 2-0 against Livonia City FC on the season. Our wonderful crew on hand tonight. We will say goodnight to you from Keyworth Stadium here in Hamtramck, Michigan. Another look there at Soga, who scored on the penalty kick. We'll have one more look at that here for you. The insurance that was added after the goal from Mazo that initially broke the scoring seal on this one. There's a look at Mazo. Well-deserved high fives. Again, it was a wonderful night here in Hamtramck at Keyworth Stadium. We'll step aside and say so long for our wonderful crew.